You're listening to the Unsure Entrepreneur Podcast with Roger Pierce. Whether you're scribbling business ideas on a napkin or wrestling with the should I, shouldn't I question, get ready to explore the realities, the risks, and the rewards of entrepreneurship as we share the stories, scars, and successes of small business owners.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Unsure Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm Roger Pierce. So excited to have you here with us today, and so excited for our guest here today, Maria Konikov. Welcome, Maria.
Thank you, Roger. Excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. I'm going to give a little bit of background about you before we get into some questions. Maria Konikov is the Director of Operations at the York Entrepreneurship Development Institute, also known as YEDI, where she oversees the Institute's programs and services for entrepreneurs. With a strong foundation in business from her Bachelor of Commerce and ongoing MBA studies, Maria has over a decade of experience in entrepreneurship development, specializing in creating and nurturing innovation ecosystems and accelerating startups.
Yes, thank you. It's a long, nice intro. Thank you.
Well, you've got an impressive background, and it's such an impressive organization. I just want to start by, for people that don't know what YEDI is, maybe you can expand a bit about what it does for entrepreneurs and for students and your role there.
Sure. So first of all, we're very grateful to have you as a mentor as well to the entrepreneurs. So thank you for dedicating your time. For those that have not heard of YEDI yet, we are a sector-agnostic business accelerator. We're also a charity, an academic institute, VC fund, and we have various designations with the Government of Canada for the Startup Visa Program. So we do many different things, but really what we are a community for entrepreneurs. And what we hope to do is to nurture startups from their mindset through education to their connection to their network and the supports that they need beyond the program, so that they don't just come to us for one program, but they become part of the community and they have the backbone that they need to grow and develop their businesses.
I've been looking through the website and I'm familiar with YEDI because, full disclosure, I'm one of your mentors. Honored to do that. But, I'm a student of entrepreneurship myself. I love everything about entrepreneurs, and the show is about helping people who are curious about entrepreneurship, thinking about it, maybe on the fence, don't know what it's all about, want to know what the real nitty-gritty is about entrepreneurship and if it's the life for them. So at the end of the day, we're trying to, encourage people to take this step. We really want to give them, access to resources and make sure they understand what they're getting into, because it's a huge commitment, as I know, from running a small business for 30 years. And a couple of the programs I want to expand on, I really enjoy seeing entrepreneurship and small business management program. That's your one-year program, right?
That's right. So I really like what you said, that they're not sure if entrepreneurship is for them. They want to have a way to explore what it's all about. Entrepreneurship is such a unique journey. It's unique for everyone, and everyone's path is different. What is the same across it is having the right skill set and having the right mindset before you go into it almost. That's why we created this one-year diploma program. So to take a step back, we've had our flagship program, which is called the incubator program, since 2013, which is a 12-week program for those that have an idea or an early stage business to understand how they can bring it to market and launch it faster, bring it in front of investors. Having run that program for many years, we saw a need for a deeper program exactly for entrepreneurs like the ones that you described, that they have an interest in entrepreneurship, they're not sure what it's all about, or maybe they are already growing their business a bit, but they are lacking the skills that they need in order to take it to the next level. So this one-year program is the first of its kind in Canada because it's free for Canadian entrepreneurs. Not only are they getting an MBA level education, we want to make it accessible to all entrepreneurs so that they don't have any reason to not gain the education and skills that they need because they're financially limited or they want to invest the money back in their company. So we decided to make the program tuition free. If the student meets an 80% academic average requirement, attends all the sessions and all their assignments, of course. We've removed the financial barrier, and the goal with that is to give an entrepreneur a real look into what running their business would be like, because for the entire year, although they are studying an academic program, they are studying their own business. So they come in with a business idea, or they are working on an existing business idea of one of the YEDI alumni, and every week every session, the homework assignments, everything that they do goes right back to their business. So, for example, if they're submitting a marketing assignment, the marketing assignment would be a marketing plan for their own business. So, everything is hands on, applicable, and really gives them a glimpse of what it would be like to run their business. What's really also important about it is even if the current business that they're working on does not work out, they're gaining the skill set, the tools, the networks, and the knowledge that they need to run any other business down the line.
My gosh, so many things to unpack there. I can come into that program, or someone can come into that program with or without an idea.
That's correct.
And so it's applicable for people who are, looking to get something new off the ground or have a business they want to fine tune.
During COVID, we saw many people who were used to working in their corporate jobs for many years that were comfortable. And here comes COVID and they get laid off from their role. And now they say, this is my opportunity. I can finally pursue my entrepreneurial dream. So this type of program is also for individuals like that who are maybe currently working in a role that they don't love, and they have this idea in the back of their head, this dream that one day they're going to launch their business. They just don't feel that they have enough support to take the first step. I think the first step to saying I'm going to do it and actually taking the first step, that's really very scary for most people. And doing that first step and having a support system behind you gives you that cushion to really feel confident to do it.
My gosh, you've just described my target audience. People who have a job, but dream of starting a business. So tell me more about that audience. Is that who's coming to the 1-year program?
We are really pleasantly surprised by the diversity that we're seeing in that diploma program. We have individuals who currently have jobs and they're looking to launch their businesses. We have younger entrepreneurs that are taking time off from university. Maybe they're in that gap year in between deciding where to go and what to do with their future. We have individuals that already have a degree and now they want to launch a business and they realize that they don't have the skill set for it. So it's really diverse, but we do see a big need for the target market that we were talking about, of individuals that are too afraid to take the first step.
Talk about those folks are what I call corporate escapees. They've got a job, they don't really like it, they dream of being their own boss. One of my favorite stats is over 90% of people dream of being their own boss. Everyone has that ambition, I think, deep down. But, as we've talked about, very few people actually take the steps to do it because they need the help and they need the support and the resources. And this is what YEDI can do for them.
I think the scariest aspect of it is the unknown. So the fear of the unknown. How can I leave my current comfortable role with a set salary and I already know what's expected of me and what's going to happen tomorrow and in a year from now and 2 years from now? Whereas being an entrepreneur, you're diving into something that's completely unknown. You don't have that security. But when you have knowledge, you also have power. And the knowledge and knowing, having a plan, having a system, that's what gives you the confidence to move forward.
Yeah, it's really scary if you jump into self-employment without a plan or a target market or business funding and all that stuff you guys help entrepreneurs to tackle. The biggest thing is the fear of the unknown. That's right. It's like, what's going to happen here? And if you can help address those fears through your training and your support, that's going to help so many more people take those steps into entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. I hope so.
Oh, so beautiful. Oh, I got so many questions for you, but also another big surprise, it's free. How does that work?
Yes. So, again, through our experience, we saw that a barrier that's holding entrepreneurs back from getting education, so from going and getting that $100,000 MBA, was that they would rather spend the money on their business. We also saw that there is a big failure rate of entrepreneurs that are going in, taking a shorter program, and then they see traction in their business, and then they sort of fall into that valley of death between the initial traction that they get, and now they have to jump onto that next level, and they have a gap there where they are not supported, so they don't have a network to fall on, they don't have someone to go and ask questions from, they don't have the necessary funding maybe to make the leap, and that's where they end up falling off. So we decided that we are going to use our funds to make the program tuition free. And since we offer programs to international students and to international entrepreneurs, we use their tuition to cover the tuition for the Canadian students. And then everyone benefits from that.
Oh, really? That's how it works. You take the international student tuition and use it to subsidize Canadians.
Right. So instead of pocketing the international students, we are putting it right back into the charity and having the education accessible to Canadian students.
Is there any funding from like the federal government involved?
Nope, we are proudly self sufficient. We don't have any federal funding for this program or for any of our programs at the moment. We did have some funding before, but for the last few years, we've been self sufficient and very proud because this is something that we also teach our social ventures is how to be self sufficient, be reliant on your own revenue so that you can continue to pursue your charitable mission without being reliant on external funding for your survival.
Wow. And you're a nonprofit, people should remember. So there's no, there's profit motivation here. You're not trying to market to students. Some academic institutions, as you know, it's a numbers game, it's a revenue game because they got to meet their budgets.
We also have a VC fund, and any revenue that comes in from the VC fund is also goes right back into supporting our program. So that's another revenue stream that we have. And of course, we have donors that believe in the program and want to support it. Alumni themselves who have benefited from it and are now growing their businesses are eager to give back and to support the next entrepreneur.
Amazing. Circle of entrepreneurship there.
Yes,
You get them going, they get successful, and then they come back and they support you.
that's the plan.
Give us some numbers here. How many students have you worked with over the years, or how many come in through an average year?
So I think our alumni list is over 1,200 at this point, and it's worldwide because we have entrepreneurs from all over the world, and we also go to other countries to run different programs. So it's worldwide, and the numbers vary year to year because it depends on which programs we're running, but we are roughly 150 to 200 entrepreneurs per year.
I know some of the spots are limited capacity, so you got to get in there and watch those application deadlines.
That's right. So all of our programs are competitive to get into just because there is a high demand for them. The selection process is rigorous. So we select, for example, for our incubator program, which is meant for profit innovative ventures. We have 15 spots in that program, and we typically get between 300 to 500 application per call. And it shouldn't discourage anyone because even those that don't make the cut this time, we always provide feedback and we give the opportunity to reapply. And we have other ways that we can support entrepreneurs that maybe don't enter into this competitive program. We have other ways to support entrepreneurs as well.
So that's a very important point. You've got so much going on, the incubator, the small business management program. I'm going to ask you about entrepreneurship essentials in a second. You've got all these things happening that they shouldn't be worried about getting into one thing. Just come and make contact with YEDI, right? And you'll help them into the right path.
Right, exactly. That's the best thing that they can do is to reach out to us, set up a consultation for 15 minutes, speak to our admissions advisors, and then they will guide them on what is the best route for them to take.
I love that. Oh my gosh. You and I are going to help the same people. I just want to bring
Wonderful.
people who are on the fence about entrepreneurship and have questions. I'll do my best to talk about it and interview entrepreneurs, and I'll help send them your way.
Excellent. Love it.
That was the small business entrepreneurship and small business program. Tell me about the shorter entrepreneurship essentials program.
So, the Entrepreneurship Essentials program is a 4-month program that we are launching now. It's a newer program, and we have about 25 spots per cohort. The purpose of it is to provide a more in depth learning that is open to entrepreneurs who might not make it into our incubator program. So, entrepreneurs that are interested in growing their venture, they have an exciting business idea, especially entrepreneurs from abroad that want to understand how the Canadian business landscape works. I think that's really who this program is most beneficial for is entrepreneurs who may not be coming here as an international student. They don't have the opportunity to come and to study for 2 years, but they still want to get a good understanding of what the business landscape here is like, how they can launch a business and grow it successfully. This is what the Entrepreneurship Essentials program is for.
Fantastic. So you've really got all these different options for entrepreneurs. And again, they don't need to worry about what's the right one for them. Just make contact and you'll assess and you'll guide them.
Exactly.
I'm reminded years ago, Maria, I had a company co-founded a company called BizLaunch. And we trained entrepreneurs through webinars, seminars, and a training program that was like a very short and probably very basic compared to yours, but a 30-hour small business training program. for, early stage startups and people who just had an idea and some people who were curious. I love that. And it was great to be in a room with other entrepreneurs they could learn from. We walked them through the financing, we walked them through certainly marketing and branding, operations, all the things I'm sure you guys do much better. But it was so great to be kind of, guided by someone in the program. The instructors had fun with the students. What I'm getting at here is maybe we can speak a bit about the importance of education in general, because I'm an old guy now, but back in the day, in the 80s and early 90s, there wasn't this kind of entrepreneurship training available out there. Now we're seeing a lot of post-secondary institutions, including secondary institutions. My daughter's in an entrepreneurship stream at her high school. This is new, right? This wasn't really the case 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, even 10 years ago, which is the reason why we started, because we saw that there is a need. We saw that incubators were just popping up, but they were really tech focused or a specific sector focused. We noticed that there wasn't anything sector agnostic that would cater to entrepreneurs across different sectors and people interested in entrepreneurship to provide those basics. There's the famous question, is an entrepreneur born or made? Although I personally think that there are some entrepreneurial traits that a person may be born with, but entrepreneurship is a skill set, and that skill set can be learned. You could go at it alone, you could watch online videos, you could talk to people, but it's not giving you a full and complete picture, and it's delaying your time to success. Having a strong educational foundation, what it gives you, again, it gives you confidence that you know what you're talking about when you're standing in front of investors, your employees, or partners, anybody who you're pitching your business to. You really have a strong understanding of what you're talking about beyond your business idea or beyond the technical features of it. Also, having education, any education that we get, impacts our mindset. Even as I mentioned before, even if you're not working, even if the current business that you're working on right now will not be the business for you, number one, you can learn that it's not a business for you and you'll fail faster. You'll save your time, you'll save your money and resources and move on to the next business. But now you've acquired this skill set, this mindset, this network, and you're able to take it and apply it to anything else that you do in the future because it will just be part of you now. So that's the power of education. It really transforms you, transforms the way that you think, gives you access to networks and to resources that you wouldn't otherwise have. And that's why it's so important.
You're talking about transferable skills.
Yes.
Learn it once, you can apply it over and over again.
Right. It becomes part of you now and it changes the way you operate in the future.
What you said is so important. It reminds me of, when you ask these billionaire entrepreneurs, what would happen if you lost it all tomorrow? What would you do? And they go, well, I would build it back up again because I know how. I've been through it, they say. So they don't worry about failure because they've got the skills, to your point. The other thing I'm reminded of is, 50% of North American startups fail within 5 years. And the number one reason behind that is owner inexperience. Like you're pointing to, they don't know what they're getting into. They don't have the skills or the training. They run out of money, usually because it's mismanaged, because they don't have the experience. You're going to address all that.
Exactly. Precisely. We talk a lot about business model, business proper financial literacy, proper financial planning. At any point, even after they're done the program and now they have to go out into the real world and they're growing their businesses and new challenges come up, they always have the opportunity to come back to us. So we never leave them out there to figure it out on their own. We have entrepreneurs that still come to us and have meetings with our advisors from 10 years ago. And they're facing completely different business challenges because their businesses have grown and evolved. Some of them are getting acquired, some of them are getting sold, different partnerships, and the questions are completely different. But then they always have that home base that they come to. And this is really so key to have a mentor, to have an advisor, to have someone who can be your coach throughout this process, because entrepreneurship is not, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, as we know. And it's good to have someone there with you that you can ask questions that they've done it before, and they want to see your success.
Entrepreneurship is not a sprint, it's a marathon. That's right. And you know what? That's news to me too. So you really help them long term. It's not just for the 4 months or the 1 year training. It's a ongoing relationship you're starting.
Yes, we always like to joke, but it's the truth that whenever someone gets accepted to YEDI, they're not just accepted into the program. That's it. They're part of a family. So even if they want to escape, they're part of the family now. They can't.
No escaping family. That's right. And I want to dig into that a little bit more. Some of the challenges facing entrepreneurs, you mentioned a few there, but what else do you find entrepreneurs struggle with out of the gate?
I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with loneliness, and this is something that more and more people are starting to talk about now. But really, entrepreneurship is lonely. These entrepreneurs have their business. They often are going at it alone in the beginning, especially. You don't have co founders for the most part. And it's hard to know, am I doing the right thing? How can I motivate myself? What's the next step? Where am I going with this? Is this even a good idea? Is anybody even going to like what I'm doing? And when you're going at it alone, it can be very, very challenging. So this is definitely a big aspect of joining a community, is to help address this loneliness and to help you bounce ideas off each other and just be in an environment with other people that are facing the same challenges as you. In our program, in our experience, it's actually interesting that we saw many partnerships form in the classroom of individuals who can help each other, and even businesses that have formed out of two entrepreneurs that were sitting in the classroom working on complementary on things that can be done together to create an even better product or an even better company. And it's really exciting.
That's a byproduct, right? The partnerships may be incubated there. What? Yeah, it's so fascinating to me. Now, tell me, have you got any, without naming names, perhaps, any great businesses that stick out to you that you've worked with over the years?
Yes, there are businesses that are generating a big revenue and have done great things, but for me, the stories that make an impact are close to my heart. So one of those examples of the partnerships that were made in the classroom, we had a student who was running an innovative ballet school. This is from our very first cohort. And then we had one who is a dance teacher, and she does dancing. She would teach individuals who are in a wheelchair how to dance with an able bodied partner. And the purpose of the class would be so that those in the wheelchair would reduce their social isolation, it would also reduce their muscle atrophy, and it would give them a sense of being part in the community. So these two businesses were part of the classroom, and they ended up teaming together, creating an innovative wheelchair that could be sold and used for this type of dancing. And they created a brand new program together between the ballet school and this dance company. So these types of businesses I'm really passionate about. Another great example that I can give you is we had a professor from the University of Toronto who has been a professor for many years, very academic, very smart person. He developed a methodology to treat kids with ADHD without using any medications, so without the use of drugs. And he had this methodology sitting in his computer for many, many years, and he just didn't know how to turn it into a business. He didn't know what to do with it, but he knew that it worked. So he came to YEDI, went through the program, and now the business is in its 10th year. They're operating in Canada and in the US, and they have branches, many customers. They've helped thousands of families at this point. So these types of stories, these are the entrepreneurs that I'm really passionate about.
Great examples. Thank you for sharing that. I was interviewed the other day by the Toronto Star, and the article was about side hustle businesses. If someone comes to you with a clean slate, I don't know what I want to do, but I love the idea of being my own boss and starting a business. How do you deal with that? What do you recommend to them? Do you have any kind of trends that you like to suggest?
We don't suggest trends per se, but what we do is we match them with an alumni who might be experience some challenges in their business, and they could use the help of another entrepreneurs to work through those challenges. And then they would take that challenge into the classroom and work through it throughout the sessions. So that's what we do when someone comes to us without a concrete business idea.
Okay. And on that subject too, are you seeing any changes in the last few years of small business, the types of businesses people are getting into? I mean, obviously e-commerce, that's a big one now. I'm a big fan of that because plugins like Shopify, you don't have to inventory products or services. You can plug it into your website and take orders and drop ship it, right? So I think it's a fascinating time to become an entrepreneur because there's so many options available to us with technology and the internet. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a really exciting time for entrepreneurship because there are so many new opportunities that we're just on the cusp of, and people are starting to slowly discover them. I almost get a sense that we're in this time right now that we were when the internet was just getting started. This is almost what it feels like with AI and all the different opportunities. So it's really an untapped market, and there's many interesting things that are developing every day, and it's just a time to see where entrepreneurship would go. And aside from that, there's so much support for entrepreneurs in Canada right now. It's an easy time to be an entrepreneur, I want to say, almost, because you have free funding available from so many sources in the form of grants. You have support systems, education, you have meetups, other entrepreneurs. It's so easy to connect now to other entrepreneurs also through social media. Back 20 years ago, LinkedIn and other forms didn't exist. Even podcasts such as yours are such a tool and resource for entrepreneurs, because again, there are many things that entrepreneurs go through that no one ever discusses, but I think that now it's getting discussed all the time on these podcasts and YouTube channels. The entrepreneurs are coming on and sharing their challenges, and it's really refreshing, and it makes it transparent, and it makes it a better environment, I think, to grow in as an entrepreneur.
You're so right. It's like this ecosystem. It's the support network, resources. It's all out there. But the biggest challenge new entrepreneurs have, and what we hope to help with, is where to get the help. That starting point, where do you find the answers? And you guys are providing so many of those, not only the answers, but the training and the mentoring and the support. That's just fantastic. That's what entrepreneurs need. It's where do I go to get the information I need to get going? And you guys are going to help with that.
Yes, this is very much what our aim is. We want to give some clarity in this sea of information and things that are available. We want to be your starting point to help entrepreneurs get going, get started, and grow.
You heard it here, folks. YEDI as a starting point on your path to entrepreneurship and beyond. I love it. I love it. I'm going to ask you a couple last questions. Unfortunately, our clock is running out. Before I forget, though, a shout out to our colleague Rick Phillips for bringing us together today. Thank you, Rick. I know Rick worked with you and your team.
Yes, Rick is one of the founders of YEDI. He's been here since day one. He's our communications expert. He's also our director of international programming, and just overall a great colleague to have.
Fantastic guy. Every time I talk with Rick, I got a smile on my face. A couple of last questions I'm curious about. What do you love most about working with entrepreneurs, Maria? I mean, I know you have to manage a lot of things, but you must get to work with entrepreneurs too along the way. What do you love about what you do?
I love that no day is ever the same. There is always something new, something developing, seeing the entrepreneurs grow, seeing them come back. I've been with YEDI for 10 years. So seeing the entrepreneurs over the years, developing those relationships with them, having them come back to YEDI and seeing their growth, it's almost like seeing your child succeed. This is what it feels like. So that's my favorite part, is to connect with the entrepreneurs, see them, have them come and visit, and continue to be part of the network.
Must be so rewarding. And so, in closing, what would be a piece of advice you'd offer entrepreneurs? Something for someone who is just really in the incubation stages of their thoughts. They're thinking about starting a business and not quite sure what they want to do. They just like the idea of it. What would your advice be to that aspiring entrepreneur?
My advice would be, don't be afraid of what you don't know. Go out and find the tools and the answers that you need in order to face anything that you don't know yet. Because this lack of knowledge creates a lack of action. There are so many tools and resources out there to help you gain the knowledge so that you do have the confidence to go forward.
The answers are out there, you're saying. Well, I could talk to you all day, but that's all the time we have. I want to thank you very much, Maria, for sharing your entrepreneurial experiences and your advice and your training and everything about YEDI with us. It means a lot to me and to our listeners.
Thank you for having me on. This was really great. Thank you, Roger.
My pleasure. But before you go, one last favor. If someone wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
Sure. So we are on social media, YEDI, at YEDI, YEDI. And they can also email us at info@yedi.ca.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you again. And to our listeners, thank you for being here, and be sure to return for more insights next time on The Unsure Entrepreneur. Bye for now.
That's it for this episode of the Unsure Entrepreneur podcast. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss other candid conversations with small business owners. And be sure to check us out at unsурeentrepreneur.com.